Yes, how is everyone doing? Currently en route to in fact I'm not even going to say where I'm going to. Got my brother rolling with me. When I say rolling, he is the driver, so really appreciate that, especially being on prep. He's a lifesaver. So 40 miles on the motorway, so about an hour and 30 minutes. Being on prep, likely we'll stop for the toilet. If we can do it in one, we'll definitely do it in one. So off to an appointment today. I'm not going to say too much about that just yet, but it is one that's definitely needed and something what's always going to be beneficial for me as well. So the next time you catch me is when I actually arrive there, so I'll keep you posted. A little bit of a cliffhanger of what's going to be going on today. So arrived at my destination, and you can probably work out with Dr Ansar sitting next to me that it's for my shoulder. So this is a regular treatment I have, I would say probably about every 3 to 4 months.
Something gets done about that.
Just
2 times a year.
Just to sort of keep myself going and mobile. For me as a bodybuilder, I've seen a lot of comments online saying that you shouldn't still be competing for various reasons because of my shoulder. You're trying to do something you can't. And for me, it's not just about bodybuilding. So if I wasn't competing right now, this is still a treatment I would have. The main reason is it's to prolong or preserve as long as possible I can without actually having to have surgery, which for me right now isn't an option. And I like to think I'm still pretty young as well. So this for me is more of like a preventative measure, and it really does help me. So less of me talking. Today, what am I in for?
So Mark's having a hyaluronic acid injection into his shoulder. This is a hyaluronic acid. There are lots of hyaluronic acids on the market. So there is a difference. There's a nuance to which ones are going to work better. Some of that is to the size of the molecule. The bigger the molecule is, sometimes it lasts longer. There's also something called cross-linking. So companies try to mix and link the molecules within the HA in a particular way to make it last longer. But that can actually cause reactions. Your body recognizes that as a foreign body. And so what we actually like to do is use large molecule with a low cross-linkage, because it then creates less flares, less reactions, but still gives you the longevity of effect. Right. And then some companies have then sort of thought, well, a small molecule means it works quicker. A large molecule means it lasts longer, but takes longer to have an effect. Yeah. So they've mixed them. So we've now got 2 molecules now within the HA, which this one has. It has a mixed molecule size. Right. So it has and then they've also worked out with HA, dose matters. So the more dose you get per milligram, then you get a longer effect and it works better. And again, this is one of the higher dose ones. It's 80 milligrams of hyaluronic acid you're going to have of hyaluron, which is probably one of the biggest doses available. So it's 4 mils of injection. It's an 80 milligram dose. It's a mixed weight dose for the benefits of both. Right. And on top of that, it's got interesting, most people probably know I hate steroid because it deteriorates tissue and makes things worse. But there is, again, even within steroid, there's a slight nuance. When you've got a high performance person who wants to recover quicker, we know that some of these injections can create an effect 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks later. If you want that effect quicker, someone's mixing a low dose of steroid into it, and a particular type of steroid. So this has, it's triamcinolone. The commonest triamcinolone that people have is Kenalog. Everyone sort of knows that as a hay fever drug. People put it in joints. We use 1 million doses of that in the NHS every year into joints. This one has triamcinolone, but not acetonide, which is Kenalog. It's hexacetonide. It's a slightly different molecule. And this is the steroid we actually use in children. Okay. We use this in children with flares of arthritis. And the reason is its molecule's bigger. This molecule is bigger. So again, your body processes and breaks it down slower. It hangs around for longer, which means the effect is longer, because nobody wants to keep injecting kids, right, for sort of obvious reasons. They're not as compliant. And they always say don't work with animals or children. So you don't want to be injecting kids again and again and again, because they don't like it and they won't behave and they won't keep still, etc. So this lasts longer. But the other important difference is that we know steroid can actually worsen and deteriorate cartilage quicker. Of all of the steroids, this is the friendliest.
Okay.
Okay, and again, that's why we give it to kids, because we know, when you're injecting 7, 8, 10-year-olds, and you're putting something in that might make their cartilage worse over time. You want something that gives you the least harm. There's some data showing that this creates the least amount of harm. Some argument actually creates no harm at the dose we're giving it, because we actually give a very low dose within this molecule. But what we've seen is that when we give this, it's called Singal. When we give it, people respond really well, and they respond quickly.
Right.
Like within a week, people are like, "Oh, my pain's gone," and that's relatively unusual. And some people even quicker. Some of the patients, some of your friends have had this and gone 2 days later, like, knees changed, my shoulders changed. So people get effects really quickly, because there's a dose effect, there's the volume effect, there's the steroid effect on top of that. So you're just stacking on relative benefits. So in this particular injection, you've got like 4 or 5 unique benefits that it gives you in this one injection. And we've, since we started using it, I did used to use it before. When I went away from steroid, I stopped using it. And now for athletes and people who want quick results, we've started to bring it back in again. And actually, the effect is so positive when we use it that, like, bringing it in, we started using 2 a week. We're now at 10 a week.
Right.
And then me and my colleagues here, so Nick, the chiropractors and the physios that work in the clinic, have started using it as well. And we've literally tripled our orders of this particular HA. Because sort of the results are so positive. Like, we've had a man come in last week and he had it. Following week, brought his wife along.
Okay.
he's like, "Oh, that's such a good effect. She's got a bad knee. Can you do it for her as well?" And that's the kind of rapidity of effect that people see. It changes the game. It changes their symptoms. It can be a game changer in what they can do within a week.
Okay. So one of the questions I've got, and some of the people watching this might ask, is, so you said that the dose is pretty high for myself. Is that based on my size or my symptom?
No, so this particular HA, they always make it high dose, because, as I said, companies have realised that if you use the lower dose effects, you don't get any longevity. People get less of an effect, because actually one of the things that hyaluronic acid do is people think it is just a lubricant to the joint. What we know is it's not just lubricant to the joint, it's also a sponge. It sponges in, takes in all the inflammatory chemicals that your joint produces. It sponges and takes those in. So the more of it you have, the bigger the sponge is. So it will soak up those molecules, break them down, and get rid of them. So you've got left inflammatory molecules, and you've got the lubrication effect. And if you put 20 in, you get better if you put 40 in. And we know you get better effect if you put 80 in. Yeah. Because the sponge effect is better, and the lubrication is better.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I've had this treatment a few times with different sort of steroids, what go with the HA. And one of the things I really notice is, as the inflammation comes down, I start to see more definition in my shoulder. And that's really due to what you're putting into the shoulder joint itself. And I can actually see the visual difference as well. So in terms of both the steroids and then the HA, the time frame is when you start to see effects. When's that normally for each one?
Our standard with HA, people will notice an effect immediately, because they've got volume in the shoulder, and there's a bit of thickness, because it's a thick jelly-like substance. So it's actually quite thick. So there's some people that notice an immediate cushioning type effect. But that then wears off. The actual effect you want, which is the sponging and soaking up of the inflammatory molecules and the improvement in lubrication, takes 2 to 4 weeks to build. Right. Because this has the hexacetonide steroid in it, most people notice an effect within a week. And that's probably the hexacetonide. Yeah. But it also has that low molecular, small molecule in. And HA, smaller molecules, work quicker. Right. But they don't last long. Yeah. So the early effect is partly down to that small molecule that's in there as well. So with this one, we sort of say to people within a week, week, and often by 2 weeks, they've got a peak effect. Instead of it being 2 to 4 weeks, we're saying 1 to 2 weeks. Right. So we're halving that response time. Yeah.
And then there's going to be some people thinking, how long is this going to last? I know that I'm quite unique in the fact that I know I've not really got much cartilage in my shoulder, and I'm pretty worn out when it comes to what's going on with the degeneration of the osteoarthritis. So roughly how long do you think this sort of would last for me in this?
Well, there's good evidence that this actual particular molecule that we use gives you 6 to 12 months, usually. In you're too high demand. you're too high demand, and you're doing too much with the shoulder for obvious reasons. I mean, and you're still competing. So I suspect it will be. We may need to repeat this in 4 months.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months. You might get 6 months out of this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. That'd be a good result for you.
And this is where I generally say I would come to see you somewhere around that sort of 4 to 6 months. And this is something I've done during the off-season period already. Last year when I first was introduced to you, I had treatments, and I remember, I think the next day I messaged like, I can move my arm, it's literally right above my head. And you said, that won't be the HA, that will be the local anaesthetic. But the difference is amazing. And that's why I said, even if I wasn't competing right now, this is something I would just do for just quality of life, because the difference is amazing. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sell it, because I'm certainly not, but I can only speak from my experience. The benefits and how I feel having this done makes such a big difference. So even the time frame, what you're saying now when I'm getting this injection, which I'll touch on a little bit later on after this video, the timing for me going into my show season, this is perfect for me. So this is why I'm here today.
Perfect. Yeah, and what I remember you telling me which was telling, is that the result you got after, I think we did PRP and then we did the HA.
Yeah.
Was better than when you had surgery.
Yeah, it was.
The effect.
It was.
Which is remarkable. What you can achieve from the end of a needle can be that good, and that's because often the driver is inflammation. Right, you can dampen inflammation really well with some of these injections.
Yeah, even from a training perspective, when I was training, I don't really lift much when it comes to like an incline Smith machine. Then when I was training like 2 days after, I was like, I don't think I should be training like this. I was messaging you like, is this safe for me to do? Because the difference I felt was amazing. And again, this is why I'm here today. But I'm going to stop talking. And I've got to get ready for this needle, what's going to be coming, which, as I've had it a few times, it's a spinal needle. So
it's, to cover that as well.
It's pretty huge. So let's get this show on the road. Sterile jelly. Just looking for the location now.
Yeah, there's your shoulder joint, so your ball and socket. Just getting this right trajectory right. Should be in the right place. Just look anaesthetic and check it.
Right. Let's change which way it's up.
As you see, just like a waterfall of juice travelling down into the joint.
Yeah.
That's all you can see. And that's it, we're done. Finish. Two big needles, so he often gets a little bit of a bruise around the entry point here.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, we can now.
It's a little bit of a speed.
So that is my injection done and dusted. I think the drive here and the initial talk before the actual injection took longer than this itself. So just from a sort of training standpoint now, how long would you advise me to try and refrain from like using the shoulder?
So usual advice is 2 days of rest, and then I usually say 1 to 2 weeks of light activities for all of the injections.
Light activities.
Light activities, yeah, absolutely. Light activities. For this one, I've noticed people are usually back at it within a week or so.
Okay.
5-7 days.
Yeah.
As long as it feels good.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hold people back. And I think if it's feeling good, the inflammation's already down, then actually you're already in a positive trajectory.
Okay.
You don't want to get worsening inflammation usually with this particular injection. So at that point, if it feels good, go for it.
Okay. So light activities after sort of about a week. light activities. But just on that, so my current training is 2 days on, 1 day off. Today I trained upper workout before actually coming to my appointment. So I really thought about how I plan my injections so it doesn't sort of derail what my prep is. So today was an upper session, back and biceps. Tomorrow is legs. So I've got nothing what's going to mean I need to brace hard and use the shoulder. And then what day are we on? Then Sunday, I've actually got a rest day. So where you say take the 2 days, this is why I try and always plan things just so it works out perfectly. Especially being on prep, I want to make sure that things just run smoothly. And next week, the light activities will begin, but just based on previous experiences, after the 2 days, I'm pretty much good to go. But again, it's just working with my body. It's not trying to force something more than I need to. As Lee Haney used to say, the great bodybuilder, stimulate, not annihilate. So as always, I appreciate your support. I'm probably one of these clients who's always asking, messaging, what do you think to this? What do you think to that? And you always come back with a great response and always give me the best advice. So I'm always very appreciative of that.
No, I appreciate the effort you put in. It's always nice to people sort of people motivated. Yes, you do ask lots of questions.
Response time is amazing, not just for myself. Kerry's had various treatments as well, and also my clients. So KYZN Clinics is somewhere I recommend highly. Expertise, second to none. And I've had not only PRP, but HA injections as well. Hyperbaric chambers, all sorts. And it's just so much to actually explain on what's on offer here, but I will put the link in this video as well so you can actually see for yourselves. But that is me over and out. The next update will be shortly after I get back home. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. So that is me back home. You would see that if you follow my journey previously on YouTube and also on Instagram, that I have put out content of going to see Dr. Ansar to get those injections into my shoulder. And for me, I just want to give myself the best possible chance. I still believe there is another level for me to reach. And part of the process is making sure that I can pose the way I want to pose and present the best physique I can do. And without these injections and these appointments, I know it'll be a lot harder for me. My best placing last year was second, and I was very close. But again, when you have these moments where you are close, it gives you that little bit of extra motivation and drive to keep going. If I was doing all of these appointments, training, doing everything I need to be as an athlete, and I was finding that I wasn't placing in these first call outs, then that might be a time for me to take a step back and say, I've given my best shot, but I believe there's still another level. And that's why I'm still here, still competing and still going after my dream, which is to stand on that Olympia stage and win my first pro show. So just a bit of an update, like I said, I will give you. I have got my phone here, as I've just got some notes as well. So I am 7.5 weeks into prep, and my start body weight was 128.1 kg. At the moment, today, my body weight was 120 kg. So my body weight sort of fluctuates depending on maybe what food I've eaten that day, whether it's a high calorie day or a low calorie day, which I'll touch on in just a moment, whether I'm carrying fatigue from what body part I've trained. But that's 8.1 kg down in the time that I've been on prep. So that's an average weight loss of 1.08 kg. And in all honesty, I think that this is a nice amount, and I'm holding on to the size really well. And I think a big part of that is just how Patrick is doing this whole process. Now, when I went to him last year, I was already pretty fatigued, deep into competition prep, already done 2 shows. So he needed a period to try and understand how my body sort of works. We did go through a short off season, and this off season, I believe, has been very productive because he's been able to really structure things around me, where he's got the opportunity to work with my body, understand my body, see how I respond to certain variables. And we've transitioned that now into prep as well. And last year when I competed in Spain and placed second, my body composition and condition was really good, but we didn't have the size I wanted to have due to the fact that it had been a long season. And as you know, as you diet, the more you diet, your body's still not going to hold that size you want it to when it's been over such a lot amount of time, loads over so many months, probably like 5 months in total. So this is completely different. So like I said, 7.5 weeks into prep now. One of the big differences this year compared to last year is how I'm now dieting. And we have a process of carb cycling. So I've got higher calorie days and lower calorie days. The higher calorie days is the same food I was eating during my off-season period. So nothing's changed with that at all. But the lower calorie days, this is where carbs have been adjusted and pulled down a little bit. And he's only made one change in that 7.5 weeks with carbs coming down a little bit lower, slightly lower than where we started off. And it's been quite incredible to see. But the way he structures things, Patrick, where I think it's amazing and works really well, is at the start of prep for certain body parts, so the bigger muscle groups and areas what we've seen as needed more food to fuel those workouts. So that will be my leg days and also my upper body training chest, because that was a really priority area. Those were the days where we started off with higher calories. And then the other days, my rest days, and then body parts like back and biceps, that's when we actually ran lower calorie days, where now we have more lower calorie days. So we've done a period where we've had 5 lower calorie days and then one high day. So this real carb cycling structure has worked well for me. It's enabled me to keep food higher, try to really keep training performance in a good position without really having to drive down food to a low point. And this, I believe, has helped me to hold on to the size what I'm keeping now. And it's quite amazing to see, because I've done carb cycling before, but seeing the process on how he's structured things, I'm seeing a big difference in where I'm actually not only getting in condition, but holding on to muscle. And competing in open bodybuilding, the guys are big. And I know that to be able to compete with the best in the open league in bodybuilding, I need to have not only condition, but size and play to my strength, which is keeping the symmetry nice and streamlined as well. So very, very excited to see the end package. I do believe that we don't have that much to come off from here. He did give me a phone call during the week, and Patrick doesn't blow any smoke, and I like that. And he said we're very, very close now. So I'm not going to say how much kilos he thinks I'm going to come off. Well, I will say actually. He said he thinks probably about 3 kilos to come off, but the way my body's been going on average each week, we're very, very close now. So it's very exciting. So the lower calorie days are coming around more. And yes, it is driving me to be a little bit more tired, but this is where the magic happens. There's no way you can get in shape without having to have, I wouldn't say it's suffering, because we choose to do this and I choose to do this, but you have to go through periods where you do feel that pinch a little bit, and that's where the magic happens. If you go through a prep and it's plain sailing completely and you don't get those days where you feel tired, I don't think you're probably going to land on stage the way you need to land. And that's taking nothing away from what your start point might be, because I did start very lean. But overall, it all comes down to being able to have that ability to switch off to those feelings where the fatigue is there, it's building up, and just honing on what are you actually trying to bring to the stage. And I'm very much switched on to that, very comfortable with the process. And I think a big thing this year as well, where I'm finding where was different to last year, where I am actually looking a lot more complete, is for a few reasons. One is my training. So during the off-season period, we actually only had one leg day. So I trained 2 days on, 1 day off, so only one leg day. And the other 3 training sessions, because I'm on a 4-day cycle, is 3 upper body sessions. And that's continued now into prep. And because I actually needed my upper body to come up a little bit more, especially across my chest and some arms, you never had big enough arms, that's where the focus has been, and that's where things are still the same now. So I'm very, very excited to present what we are actually working on. I've been having regular sports massage treatments, like 2 a week with Katie Farden, and not only that, but also looking at my poses, how I can present my best physique. So again, the injection I had today is all about putting me in the best possible place to help my posing, and I know how beneficial this will be. So I'm very much looking forward to bringing my best to the stage, but also presenting a physique I've not been able to present. So at the moment, like I said, I'm about 120 kg. If I have another 3 kg to come off, that takes me down to about 117. And I last stepped on stage in Spain, I believe it was like 110.2. So that could be a 7 kg difference. And for me, still being in the same sort of condition what I was in Spain, but 7 kg up, it's a massive difference. So very, very excited for what's to come. I'll always say one size doesn't fit all. What you've done in the past in the prep can't always carry over to another one. And you just got to be open to the change. And I've been open to the change with my training, been open to the change with the carb cycling. But my job as an athlete is just to do what's set out in front of me and follow the plan. And I think sometimes when you are in prep, your mind sort of gets swayed and you start to look externally, what other people are doing. You start to ask other people's opinions, and I'm very, very good at switching off from that. I choose my coaches wisely, and when I have my trust in the coach, which I fully do with Patrick, it's just about following the plan and executing. And I know once I've executed my plan in the way I need to, things will fall into place and I'll land where I need to land as well. So that's a bit of a prep update. I will actually announce as well, as it stands, I am looking forward to doing my first show of the season. And my first show is planned to be
a few moments later.
4 weeks' time, just over 4 weeks' time. It will be the France Pro Show, and that is on the 5th of June. So very much focused on that show. I have competed in France before once, and I placed second. So the intent and the focus is to bring my best and go one place higher and finish first. I finished second twice in pro shows, so it's full focus for that. And you know what it's like. You can never control who turns up on the day, and that's not really my focus at all. It's just working on me being the best athlete I can be. And I think with all the variables, what I'm seeing now, how things are going, the process is going, I'm very much looking forward to getting on stage and presenting the physique that I know I can present. And I'm just excited. I can't wait. Like I said, I've never won a pro show, and I still believe that there's more to come from me. And when it's all said and done, all you can ever do is bring your very best. And that's definitely what I'm focused on. So that is my bit of my prep update on sort of where things are at. I will also just add in that when it comes to competing at this level, and when I start to get deeper into prep, I'm very much someone who starts to go into my own zone where I have this real laser sharp tunnel vision. And that's not to say I'm not locked in from the start, because I definitely am, but I'll go really quiet. I'll go internal. I'm not overthinking things, but I'm really, really mindful of where I give my energy and what I give my energy to. I have a close circle who I really lean into, and they support me, family, close friends, and they understand how I am as an athlete. I still remember my very, very first show when I competed. Everyone was backstage pumping up, and I just went in the corridor and just got away from everyone. And that's how I internally sort of focus on my task at hand. So that's just a little bit of background on my mindset, how I try to just stay prepared and just make sure that I'm locked into what I need to do and not looking at others, because I still think there's a great saying what says like comparison is like the thief of joy. So you don't want to be comparing yourself, because then it starts to play in your mind and you don't need to give that energy. So I'm going to stop talking now, but what I will say is 2 more things. I'm representing Hecxtn here, which is my joint clothing brand with Kerry. We have got a big sale coming up soon, so have a look on social media, Instagram, for when that sale is going to drop. And we have got some new lines coming soon, but watch out for the sale first of all. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who follows my journey, drops a like, drops a comment, interacts with me on Instagram, YouTube. It really means a lot. And I'm getting very, very close now to the 5K subscribers on YouTube. And to me, that's huge. I know I stopped this and started it a few times, but it's you guys who actually take the time to listen to what I've got to say and support me. That means so much. What makes me just want to keep putting this content out. So let's try and get this up to the 5K by the next time I do a YouTube video. Always, I appreciate your support. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. I'll get back to you. It means so much. So watch out for the coming weeks, because the updates are going to be coming and the conditions are going to be coming. The size is going to be coming, and I'm just going to know that I'm going to present my best, because everything is aligning the way I would like to align. At the moment, Kerry is out in America competing. She's out there for 5 weeks in total. She's got a couple more weeks to go. So life has been a little bit different in terms of my routine, but it's still laser focused on what I need to do. And that's just be the best athlete I can be. And whatever happens, I know that this year that I've done everything that I needed to be the best athlete and put myself in the best position. So I just can't wait. So France, first pro show. Watch this space, because I'm definitely going to bring something I've not brought to the stage yet. So keep your eyes peeled for the updates, maybe some pictures as well over the coming weeks as well, because it's getting close. I'm very excited. So as always, like, share and subscribe. Peace. I'm out.